All right, we are doing week 19. It's all about crystals, and our materials are Epsom salt. We're gonna just put some hot water in there. Actually, I will bring in hot water in a big thermos for everybody. Dish soap, that's in your science bin. What else? Magnifying glasses. These are also in week 19. And I guess you need them for other ones, so don't forget. Just keep them in your bin. All right. So then we also have a plexiglass, which I will bring in for you, and a little pipe cleaner. And this is just a black piece of paper in there so you can see it better. All right, so that's part of our supplies. I also have a geode. You guys, if you have geodes, bring them in for the kids to see. I'm also making these little crystals, so I have these for your classes, for your class to look at. We also have, what else? I think that is all. Oh, paintbrushes. Paintbrushes, and I have a piece of black paper for each child, and I will get those to you. So I don't think that you need to bring anything in unless you have extra geodes that you want to share with your class. But other than that, I should have everything for you. And I'll have, this is salt and sugar and other sugar, and I would put sand. I forgot sand. So I'll have these little jars for you guys also. So that is it. Okay, and then also the Snowflake Bentley book we will be using. All right, so the purpose of today's experience is to learn more about crystals. And so I'd hold up rock candy. Hopefully it'll work. If not, we'll use this. So what does this look like to you? What does it remind you of? And kids will probably say it looks like crystals. And so then we're going to go into, it's a lot of questions this week. What are crystals? So we talked about solids, that they form by an orderly repeated pattern. And the pattern repeats itself over and over throughout the entire material. And then some more questions. What are solids? Substance or object that's solid rather than liquid or fluid. So there's two really difficult words that the kids are going to learn about solids. First one is crystalline, and that's crystals. And then amorphous, I think that is right. So we're going to talk about what the difference is between the two. You can show the picture and kids would probably say, oh, it looks like these are all lined up nicely. It looks like it's kind of a mess. So we're going to demonstrate what this looks like with our bodies. For younger kids, we can decide if this is not a good idea, we won't do it, but for older kids, probably can handle this. So for the amorphous, or sorry, I'm probably saying the word wrong, amorphous, I believe, just have them to pick a spot in the room, just stand there. And then ask them, are they arranging their bodies in an orderly way? And they'll say, no, we just stood there. And then for crystalline, we're going to have them hold one arm in front and one arm to the side, and then they should be touching one person here, one person here. So try to make it look like it's an orderly pattern, and that will be explaining the crystalline pattern and that it's a well-defined arrangement. All right, so then they can go back and have a seat, and then we're gonna talk about what do we already know about crystals. And this is when you can pass these around, and you can talk about how we can find crystals in our kitchen. We have salt, we have sugar, generally in our kitchen, also sand, and if you want, I was thinking about having little plates for each of the kids. Like my kids would probably like to just play with it, so we could put a little tiny bit on their plate so they can just kind of feel it and like look at it really close. And I have this really neat sugar that really looks like crystals. It's that brown sugar in the raw. So I was gonna bring that in too because it kind of shows it a little bit better. What is the shape of crystal? Talk about that. Are all crystals the same shape? And then this is where you can show the picture of different crystals. And that is, I will number them. I did not do that yet, so I will do that. Different shapes of crystals. Here we are. And I believe this is the one that shows a different shape. No, that's wrong. Sorry. I get it together here, folks. All right, so here are the different crystals that they can look at, and obviously they're different shapes, different sizes. Some are spiky, which is kind of neat to show them. And obviously they're not all perfectly formed. All right, so then the hypothesis, there's a little game I thought we could play with the crystalline amorphous, yes, I think that's how I say it, is just, okay, what is a snowflake? And they'll say, oh, I don't know, I think it's this or that. And then I was thinking about putting this in two little pieces on my board, and the kids can actually have a little picture and put it on there. If you want to do that, you can. I was going to do it for my class, so maybe let me know ahead of time if you want to do that. Also, the older classes might think that's kind of cutesy and they just won't say it yes or no. So anyway, we'll talk about that. And then there's silly putty, what is that? Cotton candy, ice, sand, go through all the different things and talk about if they're crystalline and amorphous. So that's hypothesis. And then moving on to the experiment procedure. So we're going to mix our crystal solution in our solution with our Epsom salt. It's 1/3 cup Epsom salt. I'll bring in I'll double check to see if there's a third cup. I'll make sure you have the right amount so you can just pour. And then a half a cup of warm water until fully dissolved. So you're gonna put that in there, and you can do this for a while. So this would be a good time for the kids to teach how to turn if you want them to do something while they're listening. And then at the end of it, once it's dissolved, you would add 2 drops of the dish soap into the mixture. And then once you're done with that, it was suggested to use a pipe cleaner because it worked better than a paintbrush. So you would just dip it in and just kind of flush it around plexiglass. So, and plexiglass worked better than glass also. It was said on the video I watched. So we're gonna do that. So then you need to let that dry. It says it could take up to 30 minutes. So this will be better for like the second class because it's gonna be dry. So maybe, I don't know, we'll see. Well, anyway, moving on. So we have a snow picture the kids are gonna do on their own while that's drying. And I have a black piece of paper somewhere, but anyway, I'll have sheets of black paper for each of your kids and paintbrushes for each of them. And what they're gonna do is you're gonna have, each of them are gonna dip in this solution. So you don't use all of it. You'll use some of it for the solution. They are gonna have to imagine how their picture goes. So, because they obviously are not gonna be able to see it. It's gonna come once the heat comes and they'll be able to see their picture, but they're gonna have to use imaginations to draw it. All right, so that is that. And then while they're doing that, you can talk about the analysis and results, what's happening. As the water cools, the liquid evaporates into the air, solutions attract to the crystals and forms into a cluster, leaving the salt behind, which gives us this film of a delicate shaped crystals, and that's what they're going to see. It's just like this little film of different crystals. Conclusion, when we grow crystals, we separate all the molecules into little units in the water, letting them fall naturally into place in a repeating pattern as the water evaporates. And then is a picture with the this is what different crystals look like underneath a microscope, and I just thought that was really pretty and neat to show them just how different they are. Let's see. And then I just had a little, Renee had a really great devotional. I'm going to read it and put it somewhere. I just got it, so I'm not sure where it goes, but this will be really good to add. And then I just have an extra little thing. All naturally occurring elements will form an orderly crystal structure if given the right condition. And also the Bible tells us a lot about order. In 1 Corinthians says, let all things be done decently and in order. So, and then you can ask the kids, can you think of any events in the Bible where God talks about order? And some ideas would be like Noah, when God gave him all directions of how to build it specifically, and how it proved Noah was faithful as he obeyed God's directions. And another example of God's order comes from Exodus, when he gave Moses specific directions on how to build the tabernacle. And when it was completed, it was always in the center of the camp, and each tribe was set up around it in a very special way. And I thought that was kind of neat. Kind of shows like a pattern of how God, oops, that way, there you go. How God loves order. And also each tribe has a stone, which I thought was really neat. It was worn on the ephod of the priest. And so I have a really cool picture of that I can, if you want, I can photocopy it for you. This is an ephod. So I just thought that since we're doing it about crystals and stones, and I thought that would be kind of neat to add. All right, so where was I? I was on, and also if you want to go into how he created the family, how God made a design authority structure to be an umbrella of protection where children are under the parents and parents under God, and we are ultimately all under God's authority. All right, so, and also how obedience, when we obey, it brings blessing and beauty too. All right, and so we have an extension activity with the Snowflake Bentley book, and we can read through that if you have time. And the book is all about this man who loves snowflakes, and it talks about different snowflakes. And there's one experiment you can do just as a tutor, just you with a little tiny bowl of ice cream and looking to see if there's crystals that grow on this metal spoon, but just the tutor. We are having an ice cream party, so we are not going to do that with all the kids. So I think that covers my time. Yes. And I have an extra little, one thing. All right, so we're talking about many things other than water crystallize. And when people think of crystals, you usually think of snowflakes or stones, like we just showed you with the ephod. But many things have a crystalline structure, and we can talk about the geodes and how crystals can be found inside them. And maybe they have heard of geodes, maybe they haven't, and you can tell them that they kind of look just like regular plain rocks from the outside, but if you crack it open, it's filled with these beautiful crystals. And then this might be a time where if my rock candy works out, you can smash it and give them each a little try if you want to. And then just how sometimes God hides beautiful things in places we least expect to find them, and he wants us to serve him joyfully with a cheerful heart. We should not only obey because others will see us and it's the right thing to do, but because it's a reflection of our heart attitude towards the Lord. And we may be able to fool man by faking a good outward appearance, but God's not fooled, and he sees our heart. And that's from Jeremiah 17:10, where I, the Lord, search your heart and test your mind to give every man according to his ways, according to the fruit of his deeds. And that is week 19.